This is the Storied Outdoors, a podcast somewhere between Lewis and Tolkien and Lewis and Clark, finding clarity in the stories we tell and the adventures that shape us. Welcome to the Storied Outdoors. My name is Brad Hill, and I'm joined as always by my pal Brian Gill. Man, we're excited to sit down today with some of the guys, well, at least one of the guys for now, from FowlCo Outfitters. I love this line, purveyors of world-class outdoor recreation and hospitality. A premier waterfowl experience based in Oklahoma, but far beyond the state lines, they're known for blending world-class hunting and unmatched hospitality. Josh and eventually John David Blagg will join us from FowlCo to share how this was born out of a shared passion for the outdoors, a commitment to building lasting relationships, and a deep respect for the creator's handiwork. With over a century of combined guiding experience on their roster, they've created a place where guests, they're not just clients, but they want them to be a part of the family. So from sunrise hunts on the water to chef-prepared southern meals and evenings around the fire, the FowlCo team craft not just hunts, but stories that are remembered for a lifetime. Man, we are excited to have you join us, Josh, and hear some of this story about FowlCo Outfitters.
Well, fellas, I really appreciate you guys inviting us on, and hopefully we've told this story a bunch, but it never gets old. So I'm excited to be on here. Again, we can't thank you enough for giving us the opportunity.
Josh, let's kind of start from a little bit of the beginning, your background and where you're from, and what brought you to found FowlCo.
Yeah, so really long story. I'll try to keep it as short as I can. But I was born and raised in Northwest Arkansas, so on the wrong side of the state to be a duck hunter. We don't have many here, but the culture in the whole state is touched in some way by the duck waterfowl culture in some way. I mean, there's tons of people that are from this side of the state that all love to hunt ducks and geese. So anyway, I was actually a little older before I got into waterfowl. I grew up hunting deer for the most part. Went when I was 13 with a buddy of mine and shot a deer on my first trip ever, and that was the first time I've really ever hunted in my life, other than a couple of squirrel hunts I think my dad and I went on when I was young. But my folks worked a lot, so we didn't get a chance to do a lot of stuff like that. And anyway, so from that day on, I was just like obsessed with hunting and the outdoors. It went from wanting toys on for Christmas to asking for BB guns and rifles and shotguns and all that stuff. And so when I was in my early or late teens, I went to a Ducks Unlimited banquet and heard a guy named Wayne Betts and Trey Crawford. Wayne was a call maker. Trey was a 3-time world champion duck caller and champion of champions duck caller, arguably the best competition duck caller of all time. No one's ever done what Trey did. And so I hear these guys on stage, and I'm like, man, I need to learn how to do that. That is the coolest thing I've ever heard. And so I met them in the parking lot and told them, I said, I want to learn to do what y'all just did. And they said, well, you got a duck call? I said, no, well, I want to buy one, So I bought a duck call from them or from Wayne, and he said he lived in Rogers, just up the road from me. So he was like, man, come to the shop anytime you want, and we'll help you. And so I became really close friends with Wayne and Trey. And really the love of duck hunting came from a love of learning how to blow a call. And Trey and Wayne together, predominantly Trey, but they taught me everything I knew. So that just built this obsession. Anything I've ever done in my whole life, if I'm going to do it, I'm going all in. I got to be an expert on it before it's over. So, that led into teaching myself how to hunt public land, all public land for the 20 years that I started doing it. And then about pushing 15, 20 years ago, I got a job managing a private club, and that was my first time guiding. And so I was hired to help build the hunting operation at this private club that I was at previously. And we did waterfowl and whitetails and turkeys, the whole upland birds and the whole thing. And so at that point, I didn't realize it, but I was being, taught how to do what I'm doing now. And so, and it was, mainly self-taught, but I've learned how to do hospitality, kind of started to understand, why people want to put their money towards recreation and I learned a lot of what not to do, learned a lot of what to do. And so, this was in 2017. I decided at that point I was going to leave and then, praying about it. I'd given my resignation, but I'm praying about what am I going to do? I can't go back to an office. The only thing I'd ever done other than outdoor related stuff was freight brokerage and the trucking business. And so I'm just praying about it. And then out of nowhere, John, David, and Aaron called me. I'd met JD about 6 months before. We'd gone to church together, but never met. And then he done some work with my brother, who's a graphic designer, who's branded our whole company from the word go. He's phenomenal. He gets a lot of the credit for, our brand becoming known at all. But anyway, I'm at the barbershop in the chair, and JD comes in with his boy, and I said, "You're John David Blagg," and he said, "You're Josh Teff." And we'd been told who each other were for months or years, and had never met before. And so we met then. I invited him to hunt with me, and we just became fast friends. Well, then 6 months later, he and Aaron, a whole other story I'll let him tell later about how it's crazy how God just moved all these puzzle pieces together, y'all. It's completely divine and it's undeniable. You take one variable away and it doesn't ever happen. It's wild. So anyway, he and Aaron, they had already been friends for a little while. Aaron's dad had been a dog trainer for me for about 10 years up to this point, but I'd never met Aaron. I'd only heard about him. Same thing with him. He'd only heard about me. Well, at the same time that I had resigned, he had lost his guide job at Wildlife Farms in East Arkansas. He'd been there 12 seasons, and that place sold and it privatized. So he no longer had a place to guide, and he'd always kind of wanted to do something on his own. So his dad said, you need to call Teff. You need to get a hold of him. He just kind of got his thumb on the pulse of what's going on or whatever. And so Aaron, they're turkey hunting. He and JD are turkey hunting in spring of 2017. And he said he just has this complete spiritual epiphany. Like, I got to contact this guy. So he tells JD, he's like, text Teff right now. Tell him we want to have lunch. And he's like, dude, we got turkeys gobbling. Like, just chill out. And he's like, no, man, you need to call him right now. But you got to know, like, that's way out of character for all of us to do something like that. But anyway, they texted me. I said, yeah. Well, that was the first meeting that kind of spawned this whole idea of trying to, do an outfitter. So, I'm like, at that point, we had a conversation. Great. We'd love to be able to do it, but we had no access to money or, none of us had ever started our own business other than JD was a part owner in a construction business at the time. But anyway, I just kind of sloughed it off. Well, then 2 weeks later, another guy that I'd hunted with let me back up. So during that lunch meeting, and you guys stop me if you have questions along the way, because I'll just keep on going.
Love it.
We were at that lunch meeting, and we left that meeting with one answered question, which was where we would go. So I had guided at a place by Tulsa for the last 4 years up to that point. And on our days off, I was going out and hunting with Trey, my buddy, and he was helping a guy out there in that general area where we are now. And I'm just completely blown away every time I went. He called me up one day. He said, brother, you got to come out here and see this. Like, no one knows this is here. And I'm like, well, I didn't know anything about it. It can't be that good. And he's like, just come out here. And so I go out there 4, 5, 6 times. Every time I went, we're killing 10, 15 man limits in no time. Just birds galore. I mean, wow. It's ducks and geese both. And so at our lunch meeting, I said, look, I don't know how we're going to pay for it. I don't know, a business plan. I don't know how to build a business plan. All I know is if we're going to try to do it, I know where we need to go. Because at that point, I kind of knew there was no real, big commercial lodge presence of any kind in the whole area. And so,
crazy.
So 2 weeks later, the guy that I'd hunted with Trey, he's a younger fella and good friend of mine now. And he stops by and we have the same conversation. He's like, man, I just feel like you can help me. He was already outfitting, just doing it on he's more of a guide instead of an outfitter. He was just taking people hunting, charging gun fees, and he wanted to scale. And so at that point I was like, all right, Lord, I hear what you're saying. Let me look into this a little bit. And I had a guy in my mind that kept rolling over in my head every time I think about it. Like, I need to call him. I just feel like he could at least give me some direction on how to start this thing. And so I went and had lunch with him. I literally Google searched how to build a business plan. That's kind of funny, but so I try to build this business plan and I take it, I printed it out, try to make it look legit the best I could. And I just used, the knowledge that I had at the time from the club I managed and kind of what I thought I could charge and what stuff I thought might cost, yada, yada. So anyway, I take it to him and he's a great guy and a pretty good friend and confidant. And so we had lunch and he's like, slaps the table at the end of it and says, let's do it. And I'm like, what?
All right.
What?
What do you mean, let's do it? And he's like, no.
You talking about lunch? What are we talking about?
And so he knows, no, man, this sounds great. Like, this is amazing. Let's do it. And I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? And so he kind of gives me this, basic bare bones idea of what it might look like, the structure of a deal, and tells me to go get a bank account. And I'm like, well, if I would have known it was this easy, I would have done this. I never would have worked for someone else ever. And it's not, I would say it's probably not that easy most of the time, but in our case it was. So I leave and I'm like, I'm like pinching myself on the way home. Like, I can't believe this is actually going to happen. And so I call, and so, basically what ended up happening in the interim is my brother and I come up with the name. We just thought it'd be a cool name, that we could turn into a brand. It was always our goal to build a brand, first build a brand and then let the outfitter be the street cred for the brand, Mm-hmm. So that's the nuts and bolts, but then the brand is what we're trying to get a name for. And so we come up with the name, and in that period of time, it was 3 or 4 months. I actually hadn't called JD or Aaron yet. I was going to partner with the guy who already had an established business, and we were just going to scale it. Well, he has a whole series of stuff going on with a guy that was working with him, and he ends up bailing out at the last minute. And I'm like, well, we had plans, like we had partnership and all this stuff already kind of figured out, and then he bails out. And I told him, I wanted to get JD and Aaron involved for sure. We were just trying to figure that out. Well, then he bails out, and I immediately called John David and Aaron. I said, look, y'all are probably not going to believe this, but, here's where I'm at, and, this is what I can do. And they were like, they didn't believe it. They had to, I think we ended up having to talk to our investor, our original investor, so they would believe the situation. So anyway, we end up partnering, and I already had Harold. Harold's our fourth partner. He and I have been guiding together and been friends for 25 years. And so it was me and him, and then we bring on Aaron and JD, and it is wild. If you watch business videos and you see or hear anything about partnerships, they're just almost always, according to the experts in business, doomed for failure. Because you got 4, complete alpha dogs who all think they know everything about this whole thing, and you think that we would just completely want to tear each other's heads off a lot. But in 8 years together, we've never had a knockdown, drag out argument, not one time. So that's another reason why I know that it was divine. Just because we became so close so fast. We tolerated each other for 4 months at a clip, and genuinely love each other, like family. So that's pretty unique in the world of partnerships, business partnerships and stuff. So that's kind of the story how we got going, man. The first year we bought a property in October, found it, another God deal. We found this property, found one, it didn't work. The second one I found was literally in the epicenter of the area we wanted to be in. Like, you couldn't almost place it any better. It was a half section of land, 320 acres for sale. And it had been for sale for a while. And then we found out after the fact, after we ended up buying it, that it had sold at auction a year or two before we bought it, and they turned down the offer, and it was $50,000 more than we paid for it. So, you know, it is a lot of stuff like that just doesn't even make sense. But yeah, so that, you know, first year we buy this property, start the lodge plan, all that stuff, but no intention of, that was in October of 17. No intention of having customers that season. The first season we bought a travel trailer and parked it on the property, and we just stayed there and networked through the whole community and hunted and tried to lease up as much land as we could. The first year we were trying to get access to 100,000 acres, and we ended up getting like 125, I think, by the time we were done with the first season. And now, you know, 8 years later, it's grown into, I don't even know. I mean, it's north of 400,000 or 500,000 acres that we've got exclusivity on.
Wow.
In those in 4 counties. So we can chase them pretty much anywhere they go, you know, within driving distance of the lodge. And man, it makes for some spectacular hunting. I mean, you're not ever overpressure in a certain pocket. We can let, you know, if we hunt them on, you know, Southwest K County, well, we can leave those alone and go hunt them, you know, in Northeastern Noble County the next day, and you're never overpressure and stuff. So the consistency there is like nothing I've ever seen, you know, anywhere, wow. Not even in Canada necessarily.
So is this, I guess it's on the edge of like I'm trying to picture the flyway. Like, I guess you just don't think about Oklahoma being, you know, that impressive of a, I mean, that's a lot of ducks you were talking about earlier, like a 15-man limit.
Oh yeah.
That's an awful lot of waterfowl.
And it's the right kind too. I mean, we're 75% mallards, probably 5 to 10% pintails, and then probably 5 to 10% widgeons, and then the rest is all a mixed bag of random stuff. But yeah, it's all the birds that everybody wants to hunt, and it's dead. We're in the dead heart of the Central Flyway, you know, where we sit. And so what kind of separates our area from the rest of the state of Oklahoma is you've got Corps of Engineer flood control reservoirs every mile along 2 creeks that run east and west through those 4 counties. And every mile there's a massive flood retention reservoir. So they've got roost sites just everywhere. Wow. Tons of cattle and farm ponds all over the place. Some of them have vegetation, some don't. So we hunt a lot of ponds, and we hunt those reservoirs as well. And some of them are really cool. You know, they'll have little backwater tails and stuff like that. It feels like hunting in the woods, not quite, but close. And then we hunt a lot of grain. So the area, Garber, Oklahoma, is kind of the center of the area. We're just north of Garber where the lodge is. And so from Garber to Enid, Oklahoma, and Garber east over to Red Rock, Oklahoma, north to Lamont, south to Marshall and that general area. That's basically a 4-county area that is all the grain that gets, it's a huge area of row crop farming there. So that's why those come and winter there. They got plenty of water and, you know, waste grain, corn, beans, milo, wheat to eat on. And yeah, there's a lot of birds. I mean, it's not the Mississippi Valley. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say the Mississippi Valley is still going to have way more total numbers of birds, especially ducks, than what we get. But we get little Canada geese, and if y'all have never hunted little Canada geese, we have so many guys that have come and they're like, man, I don't want to shoot anything but a duck, and we'll take them on one of those little Canada hunts, and it's game over. You know, we want to go goose hunting.
change their tune.
Absolutely. And it did that to me too. I was the purist when I got over there. I was like, I knew there was tons of mallards, and I was like, I don't want to do nothing but shoot mallards. And then we go on a couple of those big, you know, 5,000 bird little Canada hunts, and it's like, holy moly, I have a hard time picking.
I can't even imagine.
It's unbelievable.
That's incredible. And you guys, you emphasize on your website that hunting at FowlCo is not just about bag limits, but about connection, whether to the creator, nature, or people. Can you unpack that a little bit and why that's important to you guys?
Yeah, so, you know, the three of us are all, all of us. I mean, we push that. The foundational principle behind everything we've done is like, this is God's first and foremost. We're not going to take credit for it. All we're doing is taking steps that the good Lord laid in front of us. There's an illuminated path, and I can't say that any more clear. It literally was like, here's the path. All you have to do is walk down it. So, when that started to happen, all these things started to happen that, either pushed us further or felt like it was a roadblock. All the roadblocks had solutions almost immediately. As soon as I'd start to worry about it, well, then the solution would reveal itself. So from the beginning, it was always like, look, I don't know why. I can't explain why. I don't know what the purpose of this place is, but the good Lord's doing something here, and we're going to treat it as such. Like the business side always has a place, and you're going to discuss stuff like that. But for us, it was always, let's keep the main thing, and always give credit to the Lord above for everything that we've been blessed with, because none of us ever dreamed we'd ever have the opportunity to do this. So the foundational principles there from the beginning, we all coalesced around it, and then as we went forward, we all realized we're all relationship guys. Me and Aaron and JD, we really do value getting to know people. We love getting to know new people. And we didn't really know that about each other in the beginning, but when the three of us are in that lodge, Harold kind of has other talents, and that's just not his thing. He's the go and get the pump ready and make sure everything's running, and doing the handiwork stuff. That's his role there, and we need that guy. But so he kind of keeps tabs on the nuts and bolts of our operation. But me and JD and Aaron specifically just have a passion to get to know people. So we're hanging out in the lodge the first season, which most of these guys, the first season that booked with us were all friends of ours anyway. I took JD's phone, my phone, Aaron's phone, took every contact, phone number, email, put that in some marketing software, and sent mass emails and text message to everybody in our on our phones. I didn't care if it was your grandma or it didn't matter. I just rolled them all together.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Y'all.
Yeah, exactly. So
that man went mama and them in the email.
Oh, that's right. It was pretty funny, but we ended up booking I think 75-80% of that first season just with people we knew. And awesome. So we get out there, and the lodge is obviously beautiful, and Brian, our chef, is incredible. He'd never even been a chef before. He was actually a duck guide and just loved to cook. And so we offered him a job to be a guide, and he said, "No, I don't like wind. I don't like cold. I can't blow a cut down call. There's no timber. I'll just cook, if you guys want me to cook." And so we let him, and he's like an absolute rock star. So, and he's been cooking for us the whole time. So, we checked off all the boxes of what good hospitality looks like. You're comfortable. The place is clean all the time. Everything's stocked all the time. Brian's food's amazing. And, you got the guys who started the business there genuinely taking the time to get to know who you are and what you're about. And we take you hunting. And so I think we didn't realize how different that was, in the industry, in the outfitting business. I'm not saying no one does it, but it's pretty rare from what we've heard that there's owners participating in the day-to-day all the time, every single day. And man, it's built this loyalty that is unprecedented. I mean, we've never lost more than 4 or 5% of our calendar year over year. We've always retained 99 to 95 at the least year over year. So, and over those 8 years, we've been continually building this backlog of folks just begging to get in. And, that list is almost 7,000 deep now. So it has turned into something so beyond anything we ever dreamed of. I mean, it's wild. And we're so thankful for it, I think my dad always says, son, you guys have been blessed because you've never let it go to your head, the success you've had. I've always heard you, everybody you've ever talked to, you've always given God the credit and tried to, glorify him through all of it. He goes, you continue to do that, and I believe God will continue to bless you. And so that's what we've really tried to do is stay humble and just treat people right. That's all it is.
I mean, that's how we heard about you guys. One of my really close friends is a pastor down in Temple, Texas, and there's a group of guys from Temple Bible that come up there and hunt that he knew, and that's how we got connected, was through those guys. And
that's awesome.
Their experience, with you guys is like, man, these guys are worth talking to, and so hence we're sitting here with you now, hearing about
that's amazing
what you guys are doing. So a testimony of, towards connection, like that you guys created, man. And it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And then, to answer your question a little further, the synergy in that is like, find me a better platform for people to get exposed to the gospel than being in a duck blind with the sun coming up and birds everywhere. Find me a better one, because I would love to go. If you can find me a better one than that, like, I'm all in. And so it just, yeah, it's just the outdoors is a church. For me, it is like I feel closer to God, in a deer stand or a duck blind or whatever. It's just being outside in general, seeing the creation. That's what God does, is he reveals himself through his creation. He talked to Moses through a burning bush, and there's so many references to the creation in the Bible. And so I think that's what it is. It just hits you somewhere different. Y'all know, you can't really put your finger on why you got to do it. It's not even a love for it as much as it's like, I have to do this. I have to. I'm not going to be the same if I don't get to do this. I've tried to explain it to my wife. It doesn't work out very well most of the time, but it's true. It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife, she's a trail runner. And so she's out in the woods, running through the woods. And if I'm running through the woods, something's usually wrong. But she does it for fun. And so it's, she gets it, she kind of like, I can't not do this. This is my mental health. And, and that's the same thing when if I'm on a lake, if I'm on a trout stream, or if I'm in a tree stand, it's mental health, because I'm trying to reconnect with God.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that.
Tell me, just a logistical thing. You guys are exclusive to duck and geese, waterfowl. What happens in the off season?
Man, not much. So we do, like, our target species is ducks and geese, but we also do some supplemental upland hunting. We have a guy dedicated to doing that, and it's a cool experience, but it's really more for, a group comes and wants to hunt waterfowl in the morning and gets bored in the afternoon. We have an option for them to do something in the afternoon. And then really since we've been open, the off season, really the only thing the lodge has been used for is a wedding here and there. But we just did some dirt work last year on our property to try to build, just kind of starting this. Phase one was the dirt work of building what we hope will end up being a kind of a state-of-the-art shooting facility.
That's so cool.
So it'll have you'll be able to do pistols, ARs, 3-gun, 1,000-yard long range, and we've got a plan for all of it. It's just we didn't realize how much it was going to cost until we started pricing stuff out. So it's going to happen in phases, but hopefully that will kind of give that place something to serve during the other 8 months out of the year.
That's cool. That's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Is there a sporting clay? Will you have clays and all that stuff?
So absolutely.
You already have that?
Yeah, we have that already. We have a 5-stand that's actually stadium lit. If you look on our social media, there's some photos of it at night, and it is cool as heck, man. Shooting them at nighttime is...
That sounds like Topgolf.
It does look like it a little, like it's kind of hard to see a clay on a really sunny day. It's harder to track them, but at nighttime they're glowing like that neon orange. They're easy to see, and it's cooler, and it's a lot of fun. So we have a lot of guys shooting that. Yeah, that's
awesome. One of the things that you kind of talked about a little bit was the return visits of your clients. You get a lot of returning clients. What is it that brings them back? what are there testimonies? Are there things that you've heard, feedback that you keep on hearing over and over again that you're thinking, you know what, we do that really well? I know it's part of hospitality, but go into some specifics of if you can on that.
Yeah. So number one, I think it's the relationship side of it. I mean, because like, if you think about it, Brian, if you've got a buddy, a close friend who, is a fishing guide on the White River, like we were talking about earlier, or you've got, somebody with 5-star reviews that you don't know at all, 99% of people are going to go with their buddy.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to go back and fish with their buddy because it's your buddy. So I think the number one variable is that we've become like genuine friends with everybody that goes there, if they'll allow us to. Some guys don't have a personality for it, and that's fine. Like, we don't push ourselves on anybody, but man, if you're open to becoming friends, we're going to be your friend. We ain't going to shake your hand. We're going to hug your neck before you leave. And so that's kind of the secret sauce of what we've been able to do. And it's not staged. It's not something that's like, oh, hey, put a little more effort with this group. We don't have to do that. It's so organic. It's so natural. It's all a part of who the three of us are. Our staff over 8 years has seen it and seen the impact of it. And they've all kind of bought into the whole, that's hospitality.
Yeah.
It's not hospital. Like the obvious stuff is you got to have good food. You got to have plenty of supplies, and stuff can't be out of stock. You got to have, the place has got to be clean. The hunting's got to be good. If we didn't check all those boxes, it wouldn't work. I mean, people are going to go find somewhere else to go. But we've fortunately figured out a way to check off all those boxes, and you get this added layer of relationship that's like, I ain't gonna lie, like John David has had some of our customers that we didn't know from Adam until they became customers at FowlCo, who've gone through some really tough life stuff and just asked if they could come up and hang out with us. They just need to hang out with them. This is like these are duck guides, it's like, what's going on here? But so, I think that's what it is more than anything else. And not to say you can't have some level of success, not putting emphasis on that. We've just found that putting emphasis on people is the most important thing we can do. And then, I'm a type A personality. I get down in the roots of the weeds, not just the weeds. And so, where everybody, 9 out of 10 people come to the lodge, they'll see the macro version of what's going on and think it's amazing. It's knocking their socks off. And all I can see is, a hairball in the corner of the bottom of the baseboard. And so that's how my mind works. Like, the trash isn't completely, the trash there's maybe starting to overflow. So I'm paying attention to all the little bitty things. And that's just what God blessed me to be that way. And so I get in the micro, which if the micro is good, the macro is blow your socks off. Mm-hmm. And so that's part of it too.
Yeah.
That's an interesting concept. I love that.
Yeah. So we keep saying this word hospitality, and we're talking about Southern inspired chef meals. One of our favorite things, fire pit gatherings, right? These are all they're all stories in and of themselves. What inspired? Where does that come from? Where did you learn why hospitality is important and why it works? Is that through like trial and error, or is
absolutely
right out of the gate matter to you guys?
Yeah, so the place I was at before, it seemed like there were certain times where people were really just in the moment and engaged in deeper conversation, or you could just tell they wouldn't even say anything, or they'd have a drink, and I could just say, man, that guy, you can just tell this, he wouldn't have done this otherwise, but the fact that he's standing there and the sun's going down and he's watching that stream and that fire pit's right there, he's got his drink, that dude's in his own world, and he is really loving life right now. And so it was just it's a series of trying to find all those moments, and then how do we facilitate those moments as much and as often as we can in our operation, to where they don't ever feel like they're just sitting there twiddling their thumbs and bored, And so I tell everybody this, when we started, it was like, I wanted the way that I literally sat down and tried to visualize in my mind, what is a guy going to feel, see, taste, touch, smell from the time he gets out of his airplane or out of his vehicle and steps foot on our lodge, every moment that he's there, 24 hours a day until he gets back in his vehicle and leaves. What does every second look like? And I tried to literally get that detailed with it. So when you show up, it's like you're just getting constantly hit with stimulus, whether it's the retail space when you come in. I mean, we'll have guys spend hours in there just pilfering through all the Sitka gear and boots and knickknacks we've got, Yeti stuff and duck calls and goose calls and stickers and blah, blah, blah. So there's like that just sort of is its own thing, but it's constant stimulus all throughout the day. There'll be people in there piling stuff up, writing it down on the list, stuff to buy. And then, the fire pit thing, we pull up on our property. We thought it would suck, to be honest. We were like, this place is not going to work. And then, but it was a rainy day. It was kind of muddy. We pull up on it, and then we actually thought it was a different place we were looking at on the map, but it was actually the one we're on. And we pull up there, and I'm like, this place is a dump. It's got 50 years of trash dumped in the ditch over on the side. Old cattle panels and bale and twine, and it was just a dump. But we pull up literally where the lodge sits today, and I stood there, and I'm like, put a wetland down there. There's a creek. There's a water source. I can put the lodge right here on this high spot. I look across to my right, and there's a pond right there, a cattle pond, and there's another high spot. I'm like, we can put our shop over there. We can kind of connect this with this road. And I'm visualizing all this in my head in that moment. And so I was like, y'all come here. Because we kind of already decided this was not the spot. I'm like, just go with me on this for a second. And I take them through this visually in their heads, and they're like, oh, dude, yeah, this is perfect.
They can see it.
They can see it. And so literally we built it almost identical to the way we talked about that first day. And then, so you got this high point and kind of falls off into a bottom. Used to be a row crop. We built a 120-acre moist soil there. So, I was like, we have to have a big fire pit. We have to have a big back patio that's covered with a television and some really comfortable seating, because this is the first afternoon meeting spot right here. It's going to have music playing. We're going to have a fire pit. They're going to watch ducks, by the thousands now, falling in the evening into this wetland. Just thousands and thousands of ducks will be pouring in there all evening long. And they're sitting there with a drink around a big old fire pit watching a game or whatever's on television, listening to music. It's like, for guys like us, you don't even need anything else. It's like, I don't care. Most of them will get there and be like, man, I don't care if I hunt tomorrow or not. I just want to come back and do this. So it's just a lot of years of
I'm ready to go right now.
I mean, what time is? How much?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why. For me, it was like, this is a no-brainer. I didn't really even have to think about it much. But, we just try to build an environment that is extraordinarily comfortable, laid back, and, whatever you're going through at work or family life, if you're a guy or a girl, we don't have a bunch of women. We have some. But they just get there and get real comfortable real fast. And it's like you said, it's therapeutic. The whole situation is therapeutic.
Man, I can't take myself away from what you just described. Can we just sit here in that moment for a minute?
Well, look, Brian, no joke. Like every single night for the last 8 years, and we hunt for, for 7. We have 87 days that we hunt for 3.5 months, almost every single day except for the holidays. I go to that fire pit every single night of every single day that we're there for the whole 3.5 months, and I say it over and over and over and over. I'm like, this is the one part of this place that I never, ever, ever get tired of. And I don't know why. It's the most therapeutic spot on the planet for me, is sitting there. I don't drink a lot, but I'll have one and just sit there and watch the sun go down around that fire pit with some good music playing. And it's like, it's better than the beach any day of the week for me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, sitting around the fire.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we did it. We did a whole episode with this guy, is a anthropologist from the University of Alabama, who basically wrote a paper, and they did a whole study on how staring at a fire will literally lower your blood pressure.
I believe it.
They proved it, like with hard data. I was like, it was like nothing like some caveman TV to just make you feel.
We need to get Dr. Cheek to start giving out some prescriptions of campfire setting.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So there's a quote that says, "Nothing stokes our primal fire like pursuing the magnificent quarry of the Almighty God created for us all. It's more than just a good time for you and your companions. It's a way to connect nature and our spirit, truly appreciate the majesty and awe of the Creator and His design." What is that? That feels to come from a very personal place. Tell me how that has personally been true in your life.
Well, so, you guys can, I don't know how long y'all have been hunting, but if you've done it, one thing, as much as I have hunted ducks and geese, or all of us, I mean, JD Aaron included, Harold too, even more so with Harold because he's older than us, but so you kind of go through phases, right? It's like when you first start, you have no idea what you're doing, and you just want to go. I just got to go. I just got to be there. I just want to go. Well, then you kind of start figuring some stuff out. You have a little success, and that sort of evolves into I got to pull the trigger. I'm not happy unless I can pull the trigger. And then you kind of go through a phase where it's like I got to kill a limit. I'm not happy unless I can kill a limit.
Yeah.
Some guys never get out of that phase. Most people do, though. I think over time you're going to get out of that phase and you're going to get a little older. And if you've seen, I can promise y'all, I never dreamed I would see stuff like I've seen. I mean, I've seen stuff that is absolutely mind-blowing out there in Oklahoma. And I've seen some cool stuff in Arkansas, too, hunting in public woods and stuff. But I've never dreamed I'd see stuff like I've seen. Just the sheer numbers of birds and fooling them. So I'm going to land this plane in just a second. But so this whole sequence of events, over time, if you've done it for a while, you do it a lot, you kind of come back around to not the idea that I just want to go, but I'm just thankful that I get to go. I just want to keep going. And because you're only going to get so many. So, for me, if I were to dig a little deeper into that idea of I just want to go, well, why do I just want to go? Well, obviously it's because, you're only going to get so many sunrises. That's a cliche. But for me, with waterfowl in particular, duck calling is what got me into it. So there's that moment, the biggest payoff in waterfowl hunting period is not pulling the trigger. It's knowing that you fooled them. For me, it's always been knowing that you fooled them. I got those birds to believe what I just did was real, and I got them that close to it, for all these guys around me to get to enjoy shooting them. I don't even care if I shoot them anymore. But it's that moment. There's a moment that happens with ducks and geese, and if you've got a group working, you're working a group of mallards, for instance, and there's a moment there where you're like, I got them. You just know, you can see their body language change, and it's like you got them. You lay off the call, don't do anything, just sit and watch the show. And geese are the same way, especially little Canadas. That is the drug for me. That never gets old. That is like, there's this connection for me spiritually to, God created us in a way for us to be able to communicate with nature, and provide food and sustenance for ourselves. So that moment is the moment where not only is it visually just like the most beautiful thing in the world for a waterfowl guy, but it's also like, that primal, I can just put food on the table. I just completely fooled these things into giving me the opportunity to kill some of them so that I could eat if I had to. And obviously we're not living on ducks and geese, but I think it hits a tuning fork inside of you. That is the one thing, if I can put one thing on a list of why I love it so much, it's that moment every single time I go. A lot of days I don't even want to go, but I go and I get to see that and I'm like, all right, I'm back, it gets old.
There's I've not been duck hunting near as much as you and Brad, but I feel like there's a draw to duck hunting that these are not ducks that are on your property. You know, these guys are coming from miles and miles away, and they won't be there the next day. You know, they're going to be keep on. They're migratory. They're going to keep on going. But for that moment in time, you had a connection with that animal and brought it in, and it was, man, that moment won't ever happen again. I mean, it's not like you're sitting on a high fence, 1,000 acres, and you'll eventually see these deer over and over and over and over again. I don't know. It just feels different. That to me feels like it's a connection to a bigger piece of God's creation than just that one piece of land or that one pond, that one duck blind.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, a lot of variables. Go ahead.
I think you see a similar vein, and like I think about as a fly fisherman, especially when you tie a fly, and then that fly tricks a fish. You get a fish to respond. I mean, it seems it's a similar,
it's the same, exact same thing. I mean,
or a turkey call,
same thing.
You go out and a turkey responds to your call. There's something special about those feelings when you're like, oh man, I tricked them.
100%. Yeah, it's like sometimes you just, you're probably still going to pull the trigger because it's like, that's the sugar on top. But that's not, if you get a turkey to come up on you at 10 yards and you don't squeeze the trigger, you're still going to love every second of it. You're not going to be mad about it. Or an elk, like I've gotten into elk hunting the last couple of years, and that's like all this stuff we're talking about on steroids. You've got a 1,000-pound animal screaming,
larger than anything we just listed.
yeah, but it's the same thing. It's like communicating with nature and fooling them and knowing that you are the apex predator. At the end of the day, we're the apex predator, and I don't know. It'll never get old. I'll do it I'll do it for as long as I'm physically capable. It's just good for the soul. It's good for the spirit. People that are new to it, which we see a lot of at the lodge, we get a lot of guys that have done it very little or haven't done it at all. And what's really cool is to see how much it impacts somebody new. It's like they go see something that we've seen a bunch, but it's still amazing to us even. Well, it just, like, they just don't even know how to verbalize what just happened. They just can't. They can't even put it into words. They're just freaked out, It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome to see it.
I mean, it's it really is magical. I think it's part of it is you're doing what you're created to do. Like it is our job to tend the garden. We can't just let it go. Brian and I have talked about this. You can't just let it run amok, especially now. I mean, we live in a fallen world, so even more so do we have to tend the garden because there's invasives and there's brokenness that we have to make
100%.
sure that, you just let it go, then it becomes unusable. And it's like, animals go unhunted or unmanaged, they overpopulate and they disease and they die. Like that's the idea is like it's our job to take care of, and part of that is is hunting and caring for them and managing them. But I think it connects to one who we are and what we're made to do. And when you do that and you experience that, you're like, oh, that's what we're supposed to be doing. That's how we're made, and it's so good when we're doing it in the way that God's created us to do it. Then I think it
amen to that. And to take that point even further, I mean, we've talked about this before, but like think about how much different, I mean, the United States, but the world would look. How many less teenagers would die in alcohol-induced car crashes? How many less kids would be depressed and suicidal? How many less people would be in either of those categories? I mean, you could name off, just go on an endless list of stuff like that if everybody participated in hunting and fishing and got outside, got some fresh air, get off your phone, just go live a little bit, like that's real living, in my opinion, is getting outside and doing what we were designed to do.
Absolutely.
And, man, there's so many people that don't even understand it. They can't appreciate it because they've never done it. But it goes back to what I said, when they get to do it and they get to feel that, it's like it takes everything we just talked about and it hits them in the mouth with it. And they're just like, why did I wait this long, to experience this? So I mean, that's kind of another part of it. It's not really part of our mission statement necessarily, but it kind of is part of the mission, just to expose as many people as we can, because it changes people's lives. There's no doubt about it.
Well, I mean, in one of our friends that we've had before, that was a veteran, experiences as a veteran, having been in, suffering from all kinds of, physical struggle, and then, spiritual and mental struggle for those veterans that are suffering with PTSD. I mean, Amos, our friend, could tell us tons of stories about how going hunting saved their lives.
100%. Yeah.
And there's something special. I mean, another guy that we've had on got into fly fishing, and he talked about how fly fishing saved his life.
Right.
And experiencing that connection is like, awakened in them something, a purpose, in them that they had lost perhaps. But it really is important to expose, new people to it. Man, you guys, 100 years of combined guiding experience, that's a lot of, there's a lot of lessons and life lessons learned in that. And one of the things that we value on the Storied Outdoors is finding clarity in the stories we tell and the adventures that shape us. You guys learn all kinds of things along the way. Some of them are very practical things when it comes to hunting, and some of them are even spiritual lessons, and then some of them are really just funny things that happen. I'm sure if you spend a lot of time with a lot of different people, with a pair of waders on, and in the duck blind, there's I can't imagine the amount of stories that you guys have. But what's the one that usually gets told, perhaps around that fire pit, that always gets told? It's a story.
Oh man, there's a bunch of them that probably aren't good to share on here.
You got to keep it friendly now.
Yeah, well, men are disgusting pigs for the most part, and we all are to some degree. So, and there you got a bunch of dudes around each other for 4 months straight. There's some funny stuff, but. No, Harold, you have to know him. He's the oldest one of our group and of the partnership, and he's the oldest one of our whole crew. But he's kind of old and cantankerous, but he's got a heart of gold, and he's just sort of the grumpy old man around. Well, a couple of years ago, he was trying to move a pump or something and ends up burying our tractor in the wetland with water in it. And we have a video of him on this. We do a Beyond the Blind series. It's like it's sort of the behind the scenes of what goes on during the season. There's some hunting in there too, but it was kind of meant to be more of a reality show about what goes on for the exact stuff you're talking about, just all the funny stuff that happens. But there's a video of him where all the guides are like standing out there just sort of shaking their heads because he's has said there'd be no problem. He wasn't going to get stuck, and he's sitting there with water up, almost into the air intake on the tractor in the wetland, and he's just sort of sitting there, with his his arms crossed, and the look on his face, is just complete humility. Oh yeah, it's that. So that's pretty funny. But at the lot, this
it'll be no problem, guys. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine. We ain't gonna stick this tractor here. But he did. There's been a bunch of them. One of the funniest things I've ever seen, this actually did not happen at FowlCo. This was me and a group of my buddies before. It was years ago, a long time ago. So I had a boat, a John boat, that was had a Mercury outboard. It was a newer outboard, but man, this thing was cold-natured as it could be. And for whatever reason, it got real cold. It just didn't want to start a lot of the time. But there was 4 or 5 of us getting in this boat. We're crossing the Arkansas River. It's actually a bay, call it Dyer Bay. It's a big mile-long bay, and we're trying to get from the boat dock across this thing. And there's a little slough back in there. It's pretty good at times. And so wind's blowing. It's cold. It was 20 degrees. And I'm just like, the wind's pushing us away from the boat dock. And I'm like, don't worry, the motor will crank. It'll crank. Well, we get halfway. We're half a mile across, and she ain't cranking.
Oh, no.
And so I'm like, well, here's the deal. We can start paddling back towards the bank, or towards the boat dock with, against this wind, or we can just paddle on over and hunt, and we'll figure it out. And
Might as well hunt.
Yeah, so I'm like, let's just go. So we're just paddling, and the winds were blowing hard, so it's pushing us pretty good. And we get over there, and everybody's a nervous wreck because this thing is not wanting to start at all. And I have a buddy, his name's Steven, and he was a fullback for us in high school, and he was really nervous. He's got anxiety, like we're fixing to have to sleep out here, and yada yada. Well, I knew that somebody was going to come by in a boat, or because the mouth of the river, it comes off the main river channel and it opens up, and there's big popular boat dock there, so somebody's going to drive by in a boat, and we'll just wrap off a bunch of rounds and wave a t-shirt at them and get their attention. I wasn't really worried about it. He was a nervous wreck. So there's a boat coming, and this is probably 8-9 o'clock in the morning. We had ducks landing in decoys and never fired a shot because everybody's worried about this boat motor. And my buddy Steven, this boat starts coming by, and he sprints. This guy's fast and short and stocky and stout, and he forgets that there's about a 12 to 18 inch shelf off the bank so it's not a gradual into the water, it's like drop off into the water. Anyway, I see him come sprinting out of the woods screaming as loud as he can at this boat coming by, and forgets that shelf, and I mean just face plants, like his face first across the water, comes up, can't breathe, like this wind completely taken out of him because it's so cold. And I don't think any of us had ever laughed that hard in a whole lot. But
did he get the boat?
Check up.
He didn't even get it. No, I mean, the guy's in a boat. How loud a two-stroke boat motor is. Like, he couldn't hear him. He was way far away. I'm like, you idiot, dude. Like, get your guns and let's load them up. And we all shot at the same time. Boom, 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 boom. And we're waving we had a piece of cloth on a gun, and we're waving this guy. And of course they come over and pulled us out. But it was so funny.
Oh my gosh. I probably would have.
Desperation.
Oh yeah, dude. Just absolute panic the whole time.
I'd have fallen out of the boat laughing.
Oh my gosh. It was hilarious.
Oh my gosh. Well, one of the questions we love to ask our guests is, what is your next adventure?
Yeah, so man, we've been y'all like blessed beyond measure. Everything we've set out to do with this business, we've succeeded in spades. From being able to maintain our staff, we haven't rolled over, I think, 2 people in 8 years. We've got all the same guides that started with us. Wow. And so that was a big deal to me. It's like, I want to build a culture of family here, and I'm going to keep these people as long as I possibly can. But a couple of years ago, we had a customer show up who was a referral from another customer of ours. And anyway, I won't go into the details of this, but long story short, this guy ended up buying his group, ended up buying a small percentage minority interest in FowlCo. And I think it was October of last year, they bought a 2,500 acre property in southeastern Oklahoma that we referred them to. They ended up purchasing it, and right now we're building a membership, like a equity share club model on it. So we're doing all of the development, the land development, and management on it. We're building all of we're not building it, but we're helping design and do all of the new infrastructure. We'll have a brand new lodge, really, really nice lodge. And we're selling memberships as well. So that's been a really, really fun project. And hopefully we're going to end up doing more of those, or just recreational land development in general. That's kind of the next thing. And we've got a team of guys that also guide with us that are phenomenal at this stuff. They love it. We all love it. So that's been really cool. And then, there's some other stuff on the horizon. You never know where you're going to see our name pop up. I mean, we've got a lot of plans for the future. So, I mean, stuff I don't feel comfortable talking about just yet, but you're going to see FowlCo popping up in a lot of places within the outdoor space in the years to come. Man, if I have anything to say about it.
That's so exciting, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Well done, man.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate that. And it's, there again, it's like it's this whole situation that I just described was almost the exact same as the original. It was like just the Lord moving puzzle pieces together and relationships and people into place with one another, and it's been incredible. This new partnership's been. It's like we turned down 5 or 6 other groups of folks, not necessarily turned them down, but just passed on opportunities that didn't seem to fit. And then this one comes along, and all of us were like, "Yep, no, don't even need to think about it." It was it's really cool when stuff like that happens.
That's great, man. How, Josh? How can people keep up with what you guys are doing and find out more about FowlCo Outfitters?
Yeah, so website, FowlCoOutfitters.com. Got a brand new one about to drop here. I was hoping it'd be ready by now. We're just kind of fine-tuning the last details on it. So that'll be coming in the next, man, I hate to put a time frame on, hopefully in the next month or so. Before hunting season, we're going to try to have it launched. Yeah. And it's bad to the bone. My baby brother's done it, and it's really spectacular. Social media, FowlCo_Outfitters, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We got our TikTok account got hacked this week, so now it's a bunch of weird AI videos of eggs getting cooked and babies picking in their ears, and it's the weirdest thing ever.
All right.
So we had to start a new TikTok page. Yeah, really weird. But yeah, Facebook, Instagram were the main two, and then we're trying to. TikTok's kind of the next big thing, I guess. So we're going to participate on it, and then we have a YouTube channel where there's all of the Beyond the Blind episodes and
nice.
Yada yada, and that's the best way to get a hold of us.
That's fantastic,
well,
man. We just love hearing about. I was ready to go with you, man, when you were just describing the fire pit and just that whole experience. I don't know anyone that wouldn't enjoy those moments.
No, it's pretty special. Yeah, you guys will have to come see it sometime.
Yeah, we'd love that.
That'd be wonderful.
Josh, we really enjoyed it. I hope that JD is okay at the oil change place.
I'm sure he's okay, but he's probably not happy because this is taking a while.
Yeah, that's no 15-minute oil change.
No. It's we'll do this again, man. We'll check back in with y'all and do another one with all of us on here and catch up on what's next in the FowlCo chapter. Whatever.
We'd love it.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Come out, do it live from the lodge.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We'd love to do that. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I love, we talked so much about hospitality, and Brian and I have talked a lot about that, like how, important that is and how good it is. And people desire, that kind of connection. People long for that kind of connection. So when you work hard to what's the book, Brian? The gospel comes with a house key.
That's good. Yeah.
It's just welcoming. And so when you're doing that, and you guys, obviously Colossians tells us whatever we do in word or deed, we do as unto the Lord. And it appears to me that you guys are doing what you're doing as unto the Lord, as an act of worship. Let us welcome and make people feel welcome and warm and known. And I love what you say, like not just a handshake, but a hug. Like that, people desire that kind of connection.
Absolutely.
And when you do that, and they experience that, the limit of ducks is the cherry on top. It's not the main thing, because the main thing has been connection. And man, it's clear people are experiencing that. So job well done, and keep up that kind of work, because that's doing good for people's lives, and probably extremely encouraging. I can only imagine how encouraging it must be to sit around a fire with a group of guys like that, and
never gets old.
No, never gets old. But man, we call this a digital campfire, so we've had the opportunity to sit down with you, and we're really appreciative of it. And man, we hope some people connect with FowlCo, Outfitters, and we look forward to seeing what's in store for you guys in the future. But man, we hope this inspires people to do that, to be hospitable, to do what they can with what they have to make people feel welcome when they're around. And it would inspire them to write stories and share adventures in the place we love to call the Storied Outdoors.